Wow. Had to calibrate my looks. Trap Politics TV, trappolitics.com, trending culture, lifestyle commentary. He is I and I am him. It's your boy Rel. And let the games begin. Shout out to my unofficial sponsor. Shout out to Twisted Tea. Hopefully they may take me seriously one day and be like, you know what, this black motherfucker might be on to something. Oh man, a lifestyle topic I want to talk about today. Some news have came across my desk that I figured, you know what, this will definitely be a good topic to talk about, because I have been interested to find out the limits of the female mindset and why certain women put up with what they put up with for as long as they do, sometimes costing them their lives. But before we get into all of that, make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to drop a comment down below at the end of this broadcast if you guys have any questions, concerns, theories, conspiracies. I do want to hear it. I do appreciate the engagement. It does mean a lot to me and the YouTube algorithms, because now it lets them know that, hey, maybe this black motherfucker might be onto something. Maybe he's out here sparking the minds of those who are interested. So I do appreciate that for those who are watching, and for those who haven't gotten a chance to know, you know, who I am and what the whole platform is all about. Now let me take a quick swig real quick so we can get into these topics real fast, man, because it is going to be an emotional one, you know what I'm saying? And I am inquiring, so I'm just going to be asking myself some questions as well as probably answering them along the way. So give me a second. So today's topic is all about like domestic violence and like domestic abuse. And I've always used to ask myself, at what point is there a limit that a woman reaches to be like, you know what, this isn't working out for me, I'm going to walk away. This isn't what I thought it was in the beginning. He obviously bamboozled me. He made me feel like this was something more than what it is, and obviously is not what it is. So at what point does it get to the point where it starts becoming physical? And at what point does a woman decide to leave? These are the questions that I'm going to be asking myself and going to be reasoning, as well as bringing up some topics to get a deeper insight on maybe how far it shouldn't go, as well as at what point should a person decide to just walk away, right? So there's been some news articles that has happened last week and that came out this week. And before I get into like the gruesome details of it, you know, I just again want to ask some questions. Now, I'll give some backstory, right? When it comes down to me and relationships, I don't ever give too much. Once I see a relationship starts going sour, I start to withdraw, as I believe many people do, you know, but there's certain signs that would pop up throughout a relationship that makes you think, you know what, just when I thought it is what it is, it really isn't. Like, I'm not for verbal abuse. I'm not for the downplay of who I am. Shit, I went out on a date with this one chick, right? First time we ever going on a date and shit. Like, I got her number in like the club or whatever the case may be. We chopped it up. We had a very beautiful conversation when we first met. You know what I'm saying? It was all, you know, it was all sticky and icky. We were all, you know, blushing and shit like that. So I thought, okay, cool, yeah, I'm gonna definitely take this chick on a date. This is gonna be good. You know what I'm saying? I'm feeling her vibe. I'm feeling her energy. The date went so fucking left soon as we started. As soon as I walked up, soon as we met on the first date, it went completely sour, right? Like all of a sudden, like she was a completely different person. And at that point I knew, yeah, this isn't gonna go as far as this date. I should have just broke off before we even went on the date, but I wanted to see how deep this is gonna go. The things that she started doing was I don't know, it was definitely a very awkward and very weird just off the jump. The mushy vibes was gone. And at that point I knew, you know what I mean? It's like this isn't gonna go far. So if I would ever decided to take anything further, it's like, damn, if you change this quick just off of a first date, I wonder what the relationship, how many different layers do I have to peel back before I really think or see you for who you really are type shit. You know what I mean? She was a very beautiful chick, and some simp ass shallow motherfucker would, continue to go about it and devalue themselves to continue in that type of abrasive and corrosive type of relationship, because off the jump it just wasn't, the vibes was off. That's all I'm saying about that whole date, meeting and greeting. In the inception it always seems good, but then it only takes, and for her, a first date for me to really see her true colors. And it was like, oh, okay, I wish you were like this when we first met. I wish you was, as sour and bitter instead of, grinning and smiling and blushing all up in my fucking face, being so vanity driven. You know what I'm saying? Because I hold myself very high up because, as a man should, he should be very confident in who he is, how he presents himself to the public, and, especially in front of women and so on and so forth. A man should always value his position. I say all these things about me because I would think that a woman would do that times 10. They go so far as to get BBLs and all types of extra shit. So I would think, damn, if I'm holding myself just times 2, times 5, I guess a woman who goes through these extent would hold themselves at such a higher pedestal. And sometimes it seems like that's definitely not the case. You see the type of men they date. You see the type of relationships that they in. You see the type of baggage they add on. And as a man as a prospective man who values himself, looking at a woman who he thinks would value herself, and then to really get to understand, like, oh shit, this is not what I thought it was. It's like, it's very disheartening. You know what I mean? And I'm not bashing or doing any type of negative perspective type of outlook on certain things, but I'm just looking at it from my point of view. This is just my perspective on the whole optics of it. You know what I mean? So to some of the topics that came across my platform as I dive deep into some of these media manipulations, because I do believe the media manipulates, but I do believe sometimes too that there are some gems that do pop out from time to time. And I tend to think about the consequences that not only the relationship has on the individuals creating this relationship, but the children that sometimes spawn from these relationships, right? All right. Hopefully I gave a good, introduction to what it is that I'm about to talk about next. Because this shit gets very disheartening, a little emotional and shit like that. And I have a very thick skin. I could look into these things and really have a good perspective on certain things. But my whole point of view and the question that I'm asking is, at what point does a person value themselves enough to know when it's time to walk away and call it quits in a lot of these relationships, knowing the baggage, the false perception, the self-worth, of knowing that, obviously I'm not getting any value out of this, just at what point does a person call it quits? Because at certain points it leads to emotional abuse, domestic abuse, financial abuse, a whole lot of it really attacks the mental as well as like what people look for in a relationship. A lot of people go into relationships with a hopeful perspective, you know what I'm saying? They want to find something or someone that they could connect with that keeps them there for a certain period of time. But if it's not happening and it's not what it is, at what point do you decide to be like, you know what, I'm out of here? Is it in the beginning? Is it in the middle? Or does it have to come to an end tragically? So with that being said, right, my first topic. I don't know if you guys know about her story. It's a very tragic story. Rest in peace to this beautiful lady, her beautiful children, all by the hands of that man in the back there, you know. This is Ruth Esther Reyes de Severino. Ruth Esther Reyes de Severino. Now, I'm gonna give you some backstory. She was a mother of two, as you can tell in the picture. She got a restraining order against the man that you see in the picture, and she reported the restraining order to her landlord. Unfortunately, the landlord denied her request to change the lock due to the restraining orders, and because of that denial, it cost her and her two children her life, as well as the man himself. So I kind of have to ask, the question. But before I even go into my whole perspective on things, I just think that it's very poor management on the property managers, and it's very poor management on how they handle it. And the parents of the young lady is definitely filing a lawsuit, and I hope she wins. You can look it up yourself too. This happened in New Jersey. Right next door to New York, where I'm at, you know what I'm saying? And the man came into the apartment after, I guess several complaints was filed to the landlord to change the lock. He ended up coming into the apartment and massacring the two children as well as the young lady, and he eventually killed himself in the in a park nearby. I'll read you a quote from NBC News. It says, the woman Ruth Esther Reyes de Severino and her children, 5 and 2 years old, were killed on February 5th, 2020. Police found the bodies in the family's Penn Grove Gardens in New Jersey apartment after they discovered the remains of Reyes de Severino, the husband, Eugene Severino, in a nearby park, according to the lawsuit, which was obtained by NBC News. Now, as I look more into the story, right, I kind of have to ask myself a question. At what point does a person say, you know what, I have to find... I mean, of course she did. She found the best means possible by reporting it to the landlord, getting the restraining order so they could change the lock. She did everything she can to protect her and her family and her two children. I definitely give her that. But there's been numerous, according to the reports, there's been numerous attempts to get this restraining order against this dude. Not this dude that's here now, but against this guy. There's been numerous reports to get the restraining order that she finally was able to get, and there's been a number of domestic violence cases that has been charged against him. But at what point did this begin to happen that a person decides to be like, yeah, I can't be around a person who's this violent? Or it's just something to really question, when does a person be like, yeah, nah, I got to get away from this dude? Is it after the first child and the abuse happened? Is it after the second child and the abuse happened? Did the abuse happen before you even had children? I mean, look at this guy. He looks like he's pushing 40, and I've seen other pictures of the young lady. She's looked like she's in her early, mid 20s. You know what I'm saying? He's pushing his mid 40s. He's pushing his 40s or whatnot. And normally, in the Spanish culture, that's usually how it goes. You know what I'm saying? These guys are normally like these niggas, son. Anyways, so it's like, at what point does like a person really be looking at the huge scenario to be like, yeah, this is too toxic for me to even have children with this dude? I'm sure human nature would define a person who is toxic, right, to show these type of qualities early enough within the stages of a relationship. Habits don't just change like that. It takes time for habits to change. Now, I'm on this website called Space Hay, and I've read a lot of like, bulletins and a lot of blogs and a lot of posts, many bulletin and blogs, right, about certain people, certain ladies who go through, some very traumatic instances, and it makes me sometimes question, why would you continue to, and why are you adding fuel to the fire knowing that this is a burning house? You're in a burning room. You know what I'm saying? Why would you just sit in this burning room and continue to add fire? Because it's you don't want the cold harshness of going after somebody new. You'd rather sit in a burning room, even though this house could collapse on you at any minute. Understand my analogy? It's like sometimes, just because it seems warm doesn't mean that it's a fire that you would want to be around. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's not all that it's cracked up to be, and it might be a sign for you to get the fuck out of there, because certain people only present themselves to be a certain type of way. This is just me as a man giving my perspective to a woman who might be, looking at certain things from a different angle. If you're already questioning the relationship, or are already seeing signs that you should be questioning a relationship, you should definitely be asking yourself, at the inception, like, what the fuck is really being offered here? Is this what I think it is, or is this just what it's being presented to be? You know what I mean? Because when I talk to a lot of women, you know what I'm saying, I'm guilty of sometimes presenting a falsetto of certain things. You know what I'm saying? I sometimes present myself to be somewhat different, but I can't live with myself knowing that I've deceived someone. So I've always been true to myself and true to the people who I talk to. If it's what it is that I want, I'll tell you what it is that I want. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna, life is too short for me to be lying to you. So to wheel you along, it's like, yo, it either it is or it ain't. You know what I'm saying? Is we fucking or not? You know what I'm saying? Aside from that, I would hate to know that I've been deceived, or deceived someone so long outside of what they could possibly end up doing in the long run. My last relationship, I end most of my relationships because it's like I sense when things are going sour, and I'm not here to hold you back from what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? That's literally what I told my last girl. I'm like, yo, listen, I know things aren't what it is, and I already feel the vibes have changed. And if it's changing for the better for you, go ahead and do your thing. I'm not going to stand in your way. You know what I'm saying? That door has knobs on both sides. You know what I'm saying? So it's either you decide to walk out, or eventually I'm going to decide to. But if it's not what it is, like how we presented ourselves in the beginning, there's no point of either of us sticking around. It's not what it is. So sometimes I ask myself, at what point does a person call it quits? Like, why does it have to come down to lives being lost? Which will move me on to this story with this guy right here. Jermarcus Lamar David. That's the picture that you're looking at right now. Jermarcus Lamar David. This nigga got a... He came out the 90s with that one. Hold on. And I'm going to just read you, what this guy did from ABC 7. It says, a father who was accused of fatally shooting his 4 children, including an infant and his mother-in-law, at a house in Lancaster has been charged with murder. On Tuesday, 29-year-old Jermarcus Lamar David was charged with 5 counts of murder and 3 counts of assault on a child causing death. Now you got to be a sick son of a bitch to want to harm children. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never understood that either. Why go to the children? You know, but another person who I'm pretty sure had a lot of domestic cases filed against him. Cops will probably call to the house numerous amount of times. That's why he's not there, because the mother-in-law was taking care of the children, not him. You know, and it was the mother that came home that saw her mother and her children dead, and finding out that the father of her children is now in jail because he turned himself in. He didn't kill himself like the other coward. At least he wants to, you know, do his time. Unfortunately for him, though, when he gets in jail and the inmates find out exactly what he did, I don't think he'll have a smooth time in jail. Usually people like this get the worst type of beating in jail, especially once the inmates find out what the fuck he did. And I'm sure the POs and, you know, all that would let it be known. But again, I want to like go back in time. At what point did she realize that this guy isn't really worth it, you know? And I can't call it. Even in the last story and this story, sometimes it's like it's after the children, you know, was born that a person tends to change. They realize that their life is no longer their life. They have kids and now they have to, you know, they have to reevaluate them buying Jordans and going out, hanging out with their homies, taking exotic trips to foreign locations to do exotic things and whatnot. Like, they can't do shit like that anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, they really have to evaluate their lifestyle. But it goes back again into like the type of abuse that led up to this type of situation. Like, it shouldn't ever have to come to this, and there are always signs that you should have been paying attention to before it leads up to this, whether it's in their character trait, whether it's in just the energy in the room, their actions. Because I believe habit, since humans are, you know, creatures of habit, the habit of a person being toxic is always shown at some point or another. You can't be with a person 5 to 8 years and not know the habit of this individual. You know, you can't not see certain things that are like, you know what, maybe this isn't really what I would want to be around. A person who explodes just off of the minor things, a person who is yelling, a person who is barking at you. You know, I've read certain things on Space Hey about women being yelled at. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they're in a relationship, and I get it. Sometimes the situation can't allow you to leave. Sometimes you're in a year lease, a 2-year lease, a 5-year lease on a house with someone. You got a mortgage with someone. You have kids. Your kids is in school. You guys are in the process of developing a family and whatnot. So you can't just be like, you know what, it isn't what it is, and I want to leave, and it becomes difficult at that point. I get it. But at a certain point, though, you have to see whether or not you want to invest that amount of time into someone before you even jump into that. Certain people have kids and whatnot, right? Certain people have kids within the relationship before they decide to live in with each other, and you would ask yourself if you really want to have a family with this person, or if you want to take the kid and be a single parent. And trust me, the kids are the worst. The kids get it the worst. In both these situations, the kids end up dying. Innocent children under the age of 12, under the age of 10, end up passing away, all because of the consequences of people like this who just can't seem to live with the decisions that they make. And the other guy who just can't live with himself, obviously. It's like the kids really do get the shit end of the stick, and it's sad to really hear that. It's sad to see that. And sometimes if it could be avoided, definitely do the research to avoid shit like that. And that's just my perspective on it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's hard to tell what a person is going to reveal in the future. I get it. Nobody knows what the future holds when it comes down to like the relationship that you're building with someone who you're getting to know. You know, people like Kevin Samuels will tell you, oh, why are you waiting a year to get to know someone before you marry them? Sometimes you need to see the red flags before you decide to get involved with someone. You know what I'm saying? You have these false prophets out here telling you how to do certain things. You have your friends pressuring you because you see them having children and a family and whatnot to do certain things, and then you find out that you decided to rush into something that you completely shouldn't have never rushed into. You know, me, I take my sweet ass fucking time. You know I'm gonna live forever, but I don't know if you believe that you could live forever too. And sometimes it's hard to really, like, you know, put that logic into people's mind, but I like to take my time when it comes down to who it is that I'm dealing with, because who you deal with could really change your life or end your life, you know? And if you're not careful enough, you could ruin your life by not taking the time to know what the hell is going on, who you're dealing with, and how you're going to go about dealing with the consequences of the decisions you make, because it could cost you your children's lives as well. All I'm saying, there has to be some type of research, right? There has to be some type of checks and balances when it comes down to everything you do in life, especially when it comes down to relationships. And unfortunately, some people seem to ignore that. Some people seem to look past that, and they end up in relationships that they don't like. I know people right now that were in a great relationship with their significant other at the time, have kids, was in the process of getting a house. It didn't work out. They moved back in with their family or whatnot. Now, they've made they went completely backwards. Now they're dating more toxic person than the toxic person that they thought they was with. So maybe it's just you're just a toxic individual that attracts toxic people, and you just like the toxic shit. But some people are just prone to just being in these type of relationships and shit like that, and it's sad to see, it's sad to know, and unfortunately the children have to deal with that, because I would hate for my children, who I've devoted love and attention to a woman, to be raising my children with another nigga who don't have my morals, principles, and guidelines that will take them down a better path. You know what I mean? Luckily for me, I was brought up in a religious household. Both my parents are still together to this day. They both love each other. It hasn't been the best of relationships, but obviously, but it's been a perfect example to me, because they're still together to this day, 30 plus odd years. You know what I mean? And it just goes to show you that integrity sometimes in a relationship means a lot more than just being whimsical and lustful to be in a relationship. And hopefully, I could get a point across to some of the ladies out there that it's deeper than the optics. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to always follow suit to what your friends are doing, to what society expects you to do at certain points in time. Like, it's okay to make sure you make the right decision. Rushing into things never work. Never rush when you do things. I mean, that's like an old proverb, or old Buddhist proverb. You know what I'm saying? When you rush things could, things never work out. You know what I'm saying? Shame on Kevin Samuels to be telling people out there that they need to be rushing into a relationship. But, it's not a bad thing to take your time and really know what you want to get yourself into. It don't take 2-3 years, but at least, if it takes a year to really get to know someone, when you guys are really, dating on a weekly basis, or, not necessarily always dating, but at least getting to know each other, you know what I'm saying? Especially the men out there. The men finding valuable men and men finding valuable women is always the key, you know what I'm saying? And once people have a certain understanding of each other's value, you can really put it on that balance scale and really see exactly if things could really work out or not, and these are just my perspective on things. I myself, I am looking. I'm not in a relationship. I just got out of a relationship that I thought was, what I thought it was, but obviously it wasn't. Like I mentioned before, I had to get out of that shit, because I knew it was getting more toxic as the time goes on, and I experiment. You know what I'm saying? I'm not partial to just dating, within my culture. I would date. I date all spectrums. You know what I'm saying? So I'm an equal opportunity dater. You know what I'm saying? I don't necessarily, box myself in, but I do, have standards and whatnot. And I believe everybody should. I don't believe anybody should really, downplay their expectations for what they deserve in a relationship. Definitely don't settle because you feel like this is what it is, and this is just what you're going to have to deal with, because the consequences sometimes of settling isn't always great, and like I said, sometimes those decisions could cost you, Well, that was just a a quick rant, my perspective, my thoughts, on some issues that I think should be addressed. Again, these aren't facts. This is just me reasoning within myself. And if you guys would like to add your input and whatnot, definitely drop a comment down below. I definitely will respond. I appreciate the engagement. Thumbs up, thumbs down. And maybe I might touch on the topic a little bit more in the long run, but hopefully I'm able to enlighten, somewhat entertain, and give a different point of view. Maybe question a few things. Maybe question yourself. Maybe I've presented some questions that you might want to ask yourself when it comes down to what you expect out of a relationship. At what point do you value the relationship? Do you review your relationships quarterly to see if it's matching up to what it is that you expect? If you have children, do you, bring this toxicity into the relationship? Are you screaming and bawling in front of your children at your mate? Are you going through this type of abuse? And sometimes you got to really ask yourself a lot of these questions. I know a lot of women right now taking on baggages, dating men that already have children, that's already a sign of some toxic shit. Never date a nigga that got kids. Men never date a woman that got kids. It's like, at least, well, those are the rules I live by. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. You know what I'm saying? Live your life however. Be toxic as much as you want. Date 6 or 7 baby moms. Who gives a fuck? I'm just telling you my perspective. Personally, I won't ever date a woman with kids. And I would advise any woman or man to never date anyone with kids. Do your homework, find your range. There are women out there without kids. There are men out there without kids. So, ladies and gentlemen, do your homework. Find out where you're best valued at, and invest your time and efforts into finding if this is what you're looking for. Yeah, man. But hopefully, I raise some awareness and at least a different perspective on value, and what you should be looking forward to, or what you should be looking at with self and valuing self. Look at yourself in the mirror and be like, you know what? I think it would be best for X, Y, Z to happen for me. Now, it's time for me to roll up on out of here. I appreciate y'all for kicking and hanging with the kid this long. Make sure to share, add a little tagline. Be like, yo, this black motherfucker was talking some real shit. Y'all should definitely peep it. Share this, you know what I'm saying? Share it with your homies, your homettes. Share it with your family. I am a handsome young man, so, I'm pleasing to the eyes. Maybe not too pleasing to the ears. Maybe I might be a little, maybe not too pleasing to the mind. Maybe, no, I am pleasing to the ears. I do have a very sensual voice, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Anyways, yeah, man, I appreciate y'all kicking it with me. It's your boy Rel, Trap Politics TV, trappolitics.com. Make sure you check out the website. I got some merch on there. Nobody bought anything for Black Friday. Hopefully somebody might buy something before the year ends, whether it's a hat, a shirt. It comes with, a goodie bag. You get a lot of dope shit in there. You get like, a whole bunch of dope shit. I might even throw some money in there for y'all. You know what I'm saying? I might end up putting some dollar bills in there, but ain't nobody buying nothing, so ain't nobody getting nothing in return, unfortunately, because motherfuckers be slacking on your pimping, baby. Don't be slacking on your pimping, you heard? We out, man. It's your boy Rel. Until next time, peace, love, and prosperity. You dig? We out. RIP to those children, man. That shit was sad. Such a beautiful young lady, too, man. Beautiful kids. That shit broke my heart. I'm not even gonna lie to you. That shit really broke my fucking heart. Because I know if it was me, I wouldn't ever take no child's life. I'll deal with it, you know what I mean? That's what men do.